Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're continuing our ranking of the Doctor Who seasons and series from classic Doctor Who and modern Doctor Who from worst to best. We had 41 slots on this list because the 2009 specials and the 50th anniversary specials are separate entries. And we are starting today, number 21. We're at number 21, and that is going to be season 11 of classic Doctor Who, Jon Pertwee's final season, just missing out of the top 20. I like this season. I know some people argue it is Pertwee's weakest. I don't know if I agree to that, but I haven't quite seen all of it yet. The one story I have not seen from this season yet is Monsters of Peladon, which I am looking forward to seeing. I hear that between the two, Curse of Peladon is better, and I like Curse of Peladon. It is a little slow, but I like Curse of Peladon. But I've always wanted to see Monsters of Peladon just because it is kind of a sequel to it, and I'm curious to see what I will think of it, but I hear it's not the greatest. Now, moving on to the stories I have seen, The Time Warrior is phenomenal. I love The Time Warrior. I got to see that for the first time this year. One of my subscribers sent me a copy of it. I want to say thank you for that because I very much enjoy The Time Warrior. It's a Bob Holmes story. You guys know I love Bob Holmes. He's my favorite Doctor Who writer. The introduction of Sarah Jane, the introduction of the Sontarans, and probably what really is the only Third Doctor historical. And I love it. I love the bad guy in it, in the castle, not just the Sontaran, but the human bad guy. The actor playing him does such a good job. I enjoyed that. I like the fact that Sarah doesn't trust the Doctor at the beginning, thinking he might be involved in the time stuff going on. That's cool. I like the way Sarah is dressed and the way she does her hair in this very business and professional. I kind of wish she'd kept that look a little more because I really like that look. And Elizabeth is just phenomenal right out of the gate. Just right out of the gate, she is phenomenal. And her and John are so good together. It's nice to be able to see more of the Third Doctor with Sarah because I'm so used to the relationship between the Fourth Doctor and Sarah that I'm enjoying this year being able to see more of the Third Doctor and Sarah and how they interact with each other. But I really love The Time Warrior. And then Invasion of the Dinosaurs, which I got to see for the first time recently. One of my subscribers, Lance, sent me Happiness Patrol and Invasion of the Dinosaurs. Lance, I really appreciate that because I love both of those stories. I very much enjoyed Invasion of the Dinosaurs. I got to read the Pinnacle book of it as well recently, The Dinosaur Invasion, which was also very good. The dinosaur effects don't really bother me a lot. The T-Rex looks a little wonky, but other than that, I'm fine. The story really holds it together. I did watch episode 1 in black and white because the color restoration is a little wonky. But the rest of it, of course, is the surviving masters. And it looks good. It's nice having another unit story. Benton gets some really good moments to shine when he's like, all right, Doc, I guess you better knock me out with your Venetian, whatever. I love the loyalty there. I love Benton. And of course, seeing the Brigadier in here and everything going on with Yates. I like how the book especially, I really like how the book of the Invasion of the Dinosaurs really goes into explaining more about Yates and how the events of the Green Death traumatized him, and that may be what made him susceptible to being manipulated in this story. I do wish the episode had touched on that a little more. It is interesting to see a character kind of take a heel turn. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Yates to begin with anyway. I never have. I think Richard Franklin does a great job as him, but I've just never been a fan of Yates as a character. But it's still interesting for him to take this heel turn and have to come back in Spiders to kind of try to redeem himself. But yeah, I like everything going on in this. The General Finch character you just know he's going to be working with the bad guys. He's such a stick in the mud, so it's not a surprise when he turns out to be one of the bad guys. So aside from a few dodgy effects, the story is really good. Pertwee does a really good job. The little Jeep chase when he's being chased by the helicopter and everything goes on a tad long. I'm glad they cut it out of the book, but it's still a really good six-parter that I very much enjoyed. I like Death to the Daleks a lot. I think it's an underrated Dalek story. I don't necessarily think it's top-tier Dalek story, but not far below it. If it wasn't for the special edition of Day of the Daleks, Death to the Daleks would be my favorite of the Pertwee stories. I enjoyed it. I like the silver and black Dalek design. I like the Daleks being reduced to not having their weapons and having to cope with that, and then switching to their alternate weapons that fire the projectiles. And I love that they tested on a little blue TARDIS that one of the Daleks must have made to test it on. That's where I started my running theory that one of the Daleks out there is a Dalek I call Frank. And Frank is a huge fan of the Doctor. But he doesn't tell any of the other Daleks because you don't want any of the Daleks knowing you're a fan of the Doctor. But Frank's also very terrible at keeping secrets, so all the other Daleks know. We need to test the new guns. Go get Frank's little model TARDIS. You know Frank's not here right now. He's off visiting his uncle, the Supreme Dalek. So they go into Frank's room and get it out and blow it up because Frank annoys them, but he's like the Supreme Dalek's nephew, so they have to tolerate him. I love Frank the Dalek. But yeah, I enjoy this one. I like the human cast, especially the one guy who's kind of a prick, but he redeems himself at the end by sacrificing himself to blow up the Dalek ship. All of the actors, I think, playing the human people, the colonists, I think do a really good job. It's nice having 3 and Sarah on an alien planet together. I like Death to the Daleks. I think it's an underrated Dalek story, just missing out on top tier Dalek stories. I mean, it's not Power, it's not Genesis, it's not Evil. But it's still better than a lot of the others. I'd rank it up there with Remembrance and Resurrection and any of the 80s stories, maybe right below Resurrection, but I'd rank it with Revelations and Remembrance any day, any day. And then Planet of the Spiders, again, is one of the reasons why this isn't ranked higher. Planet of the Spiders is good, but not great. It's just good. The Third Doctor, I feel like, deserved a better send-off. It's good, but it's just good. It's not good, it's good. I like the spiders. I think they look fine for classic Who. I like the idea of the Great One. I like the idea of when they crashed on this planet, the spiders became the dominant species and not the humans. That's fascinating to me. And the fact they can possess people the way they do, how it ties back into with the Metebelis 3 crystal. And despite how Matt Smith wants to say it, it's Metebelis 3 crystal. So I enjoy that. I love that the Doctor does get his little chase where he gets to go, by land, by sea, by air as one kind of last hurrah. It's nice seeing Yates back trying to redeem himself from what happened in Dinos. I enjoy that. I like his regeneration. The actual regeneration itself is crap, where it's just a little transition that's crap, but the dialogue leading up to it is really good. How the Doctor pretty much dies mid-sentence, and he dies. You can look at his eyes are open. The Doctor dies. None of this modern Who crap of if he dies, he's dead. He dies. You can just tell when she's having closed eyes. He dies mid-sentence. That's phenomenal. I do wish they'd tweak the regeneration effect slightly, like they did in the updated effects from Aldrin Undead during the flashback scene when it shows Pertwee regenerating to Tom Baker. They do tweak it slightly, and I do like that improvement a lot better. So, if Planet of the Spiders is the one that gets the updated effects in the Season 11 box set, then I definitely want that regeneration effect updated. But yeah, this is just kind of where it lands for me, just outside the top 20. Because I love Time War, I love Dinos, I really like Death to the Daleks, but I haven't seen Monsters of Peladon, and I find Planet of the Spiders okay, but underwhelming. And especially as a regeneration story, Pertwee deserves better. So I want to know what you think of Season 11 and how it ranks in your Pertwee seasons. Comment down below and let me know. Also, while you're there, go ahead and click the like button and the subscribe button. That helps me out. I'm trying to grow the channel. My goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers, so every single subscriber counts, and I appreciate it. Also, all the other fun things down in the description to check out. The link to the Patreon, the link to the Amazon wish list, and the P.O. box if there's anything you would like to send me. I want to give a shout out to Stephen Crane, one of my top tier patrons. I appreciate him and all of my patrons on Patreon. Most importantly, thank you for watching.